It is day 5 of our 5-day celebration of Mobocracy, the book written by P. Jake Jacobs, good friend of ours, about what happens when mobs, when rational people, rational governments give way to the mob. And so all week long we've been looking at quotes about mobs. They go all the way back to the ancient Greeks, all the way back to the beginning of culture. People realize that it's mobs that are the problem. It's mobs who undercut civilization. It's mobs that lead to anarchy. And the problem with a mob is that all those individuals who come together to make a mob, the mob itself conveys upon them the moral ability to do things that they would never, ever in a million years do as individuals. And that's really what's so dangerous about it. The mob has a mind of its own, but it has no conscience of its own. So take a look at some of our quotes today. Quote from Tacitus, the great Roman writer. "The mob have neither judgment nor principle, ready to brawl at night for the reverse of what they desired in the morning." That's right. They're uncontainable. You can get a bunch of Antifa kids in the street in the morning to fight for one cause, and then 8 hours later, with very little coercion, you can get them to fight for exactly the opposite thing, and they'll never know better. How about this from Dan Simmons? "The sum of the crowd's IQ was far below that of its most modest single member." Think about that. You take every mob, the sum of every mob, the IQ collectively of that mob is lower than if you were to take the dumbest of the mob, separate that, and look at his or her IQ. It's that bad. The sum of the crowd's IQ was far below that of its most modest single member. Mobs have passion, not brains. That's why kids are the ones usually forming them. How about Edgar Allan Poe? "The nose of a mob is its imagination. By this time, at any time, it can be quietly led by the nose," right? And finally, Martin Luther, "The mad mob does not ask how it could be better, only that it be different. And when it then becomes worse, it must change again. Thus, mobs go from bees, they get bees for flies, and at last hornets for bees." And look at that last sentence, because it's kind of complicated. As the mobs get more irrational, more dispassionate, more angry, more lost to reason, they substitute bees, which are really useful insects, for flies. They become a pest, right? And then when they get violent, they trade in the fly for the hornets, because hornets have really nasty stings. All right.